All right, this is for step 8, how to complete the design formula packet. I'm first going to look at the pretest and the actual rubric that's available to show you what you're doing. So in the first box, you're essentially taking a term and applying it very simply using black and white. In the second box, the B box, you're taking the term and again applying it very simply, but this time you're adding gray. And in the C box, you are going through and you are trying to dissect the different components of the drawing to make a new image so that you're combining and manipulating what you're given. Artists almost act like mathematicians in that when they have an idea, they add, subtract, multiply that idea to make it better. So for example, what is very common for students is an 8, where you can see that they just took this image and they redrew it, and then they took this image and they kind of added it in almost as an afterthought, but it's essentially copied and pasted. If you go over to the 9, you'll see that this time they at least were able to flip the images around. The images all stay, like this square is the exact same as that square, but it's rotated. These things were multiplied and rotated. And then for the 10 box, you'll notice that the images are actually deconstructed and reconstructed. So these little points come from the points of there. This little peanut thing is by taking the two ends and adding them together. This little square here is by taking one of these guys and shrinking it down. So you're actually distorting what's available on the page, but you're not doing what's in the 6 box, which is just making stuff up. Like that was never there. There were never any dots. The picture feels totally imbalanced, which this is supposed to be asymmetrical balance, so it would still have balance to it. A 7 is like a bad copy and paste job. So again, the components are still there, but and you still have asymmetrical balance, but it's not a very good joining of the two images. All right, so here's how you do this. You're on your sheet. The first thing that you do is you're going to pick out a line type. Back out just a little bit here. And I'm going to pick structural lines. I ask that you pick something other than structural lines, unless it's important to you to kind of do what I'm doing at the same time as the video so you can get a feel for it, in which case just flip your packet over and do it on the back. So you write down the line type or whatever the element is, and the element is always the first word. So like line, shape, and then you're going to write down a type of rhythm, and I'm going to pick flowing. Okay, then for structural lines, the tools that you use is you're not expected to draw well. So there's these two tools that you can trace from and use to create your drawing. So for structural lines, I'm going to draw that guy, and then I need something to hold him up. I'm doing all this in pencil. This side feels like it would fall over, so I need some sort of line here. Again, this guy needs something to hold him up. I'm keeping this drawing fairly simple, and then I'm remembering that I need to make it black and white. So once I've drawn it with pencil, I can go ahead and go in with the Sharpie and finish it up. I'm going to pause the video while I'm doing this. All right, so I went ahead and created my structural line drawing. Remember that this is black and white. I kept it fairly simple on purpose. I tried to provide each line its kind of own unique thickness so that each section kind of had a distinct feel. The next, I'm going to go ahead and create my flowing rhythm. So, okay, and then again, I will pause the video to complete the drawing, but this time I'm going to incorporate black, white, and hash lines to represent gray. All right, so now I have finished that. I went ahead and made it a calligraphic line to make my line more interesting, and then I made sure I have a white, black, gray section. Next, I need to combine these. Now, when I do the combination, what I'm trying to do is pick out the best component from each drawing, and I'm trying to reorganize that into a new image. So the parts that I like the best is I love this general flow right here. I love the black, white contrast along with the gray straight hash lines. I also really enjoy this part of this image right here. So now I'm going to figure out how to combine them together, and I'm just going to talk this through so you can see how I think it through. So I love the division of the paper, so I'm going to be a little more strong with it this time and go like that. I love that triangle component, so I'm going to go ahead and add that in as well. And then this curved line, this flowing rhythm, I'm going to start by putting one there, and then I'm going to play with it. So let's see. The thickness of this line that I had before I think is a good idea, so I'm going to keep that. I'm going to go ahead and keep this thickness here and get rid of this guy. And then I'm going to thicken up this calligraphic line, but I feel like I feel like it's too copy and paste to make it that big. So instead, I think the solution is going to be to shrink it and apply it right there. And then to incorporate those hash lines. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this design. I just want to show you where I'm at in the design. So I'm right here. I do have my light gray, white, black, and dark gray, which I'm supposed to have, but I'm just not happy with the design. So I'm going to start going in and seeing if I can't correct that to make it more interesting. Alright, so I went ahead and added to my design a little bit more. To be honest with you, it's not my favorite. Sometimes what you can do when something isn't to the standard that you want is it's simply a matter of turning your paper until you find, sometimes under a different angle, under a different circumstance, it looks better. You can also get little squares to cover up what you did, and you just tape it at the top to try again. Oftentimes artists will also then move on to the next section, and then they might take this one plus this one to create a new one. But this is the essential steps that artists go through to create interesting and unique compositions that meet that 10 or 9 standard.